The first fear in getting organized. It's myorganized.life, live June 3rd, 2019.
Welcome.
The first show of June.
First show of June, and we're back to our regularly
We are back
scheduled
to our schedule.
shows. My grandma asked me over the weekend, I didn't get a notification about your show.
Oh.
And I said, well, we're going to be back next week.
Yeah,
so
good.
Here we are.
And it is myorganized.life live. I'm John Hunt.
And I'm Leanne Thompson.
This is the show where we give you organizing tips, advice, and if you missed last Thursday's show, travel highlights from when we were gone. So you got to go back and watch that show.
Jackie that we work with here.
Jackie, our main fan.
She's our main fan. She wanted to see more pictures. She wishes we would have put more pictures
Maybe
in
we
there.
should have a webinar or something.
Oh,
where we
gosh.
Do our, this is okay. We're going to sidetrack for just a second here because this is kind of a cool way to tell someone about your trip.
Yes.
So we went out to lunch yesterday, and our daughter just got back from Sweden.
Oh, right.
So we're saying, okay, tell us about your trip, okay? So here we are. She is taking her phone.
Okay.
And she airdrops us a picture. So we're all looking at our phones while she's sitting right there. And she's going, okay, well, here's the first date. So it's like going on a tour. You're watching the picture, and she's over there talking, and then she goes, and she sends another one, and you accept it. Oh, airdrop is when you take one map.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
Well, on the iPhone, you can actually send someone the picture through Bluetooth.
Okay,
if you're right next to
an
them.
attachment in a text or something?
Yeah, so it just goes right there, you accept it, boom, it's on your phone. So anyway, we got her slideshow, and but then we wanted to tell her about Israel, and the waitress came, and the whole thing got, so we still haven't done that yet.
Wow.
But anyway, that's another
way.
Yeah, it was great, but it was actually kind of funny because here we are, we're all looking at our phones, and she's sitting there talking to us, but we're not looking at her because we're looking at the pictures like, we're watching TV.
Wow.
But the audio is coming from there. Much like this show where you are watching this and wondering what the heck are they talking. You have to go back and watch last Thursday's show because we give a highlights of our trips.
Yep.
We were gone for almost a month, but now we are back.
Now we're back. Yes.
And what was the topic of the show today?
The topic of the show is the first fear when getting organized.
Yes. This is from a podcast. Actually, we go back to number, I think, 108.
108, long time ago.
How do people find our podcasts?
They can go to sme.com/podcast. Scroll down to number 108 with Julie Bestry.
Yeah, no, it's not actually called the first fear of organized. This is just one little clip.
It says fears that keep you from getting organized.
Yes, there's a whole show of fears.
Yes.
We're just going to cover one little fear here, which is the first fear.
Yep.
So let's listen to what professional organizer Julie Bestry has to say about that.
People fear getting rid of or letting go of things because they might need them someday. So they hold on to things just in case. Yeah. Well, they never get beyond that to think about just in case of what. So for example, when I work with clients on paper clutter issues, it's often a matter of people fearing letting go of receipts, of explanation of benefits and duplicate checks because they say, I might get audited. Well, auditing is a real thing and it's understandable that somebody would fear that. But the fear of getting audited sort of pushes aside the idea of what they would need to do if they were audited. So you have to think about the fact that if you've got receipts for meals and groceries that aren't applicable to taxes, you go to McDonald's. Well, unless you're on a business trip and you've gone to McDonald's, that's not going to be deductible. Explanation of benefits, those EOBs you get from the insurance company, they can help you verify what the insurance company thinks you need to pay, but it doesn't prove to the IRS that you actually paid for a medical expense. And those check duplicates that you have prove that you wrote a check doesn't mean that you actually gave it to somebody and it got cashed. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, I'm just thinking about this because I just got one of those explanation of benefits in the mail the other day. So what do you recommend that clients do? Hold on to them for a short amount of time? And then, what's the organizational system that they can use to, do those things?
Well, we talk a lot about document retention schedules, for example. So that's part. So when we're talking about paper, people fear letting go of something because they might need it. So we walk through and say, okay, under what circumstance would you need it? And we go through, okay, you need some receipts in case you might return something to a store. Well, if the return policy only gives you 30 days, then you're going to keep it in your short-term purchases folder, for example, that might be right at the front of your family filing system. If it's a big ticket item that you may need to get, let's say you buy your wife a beautiful ring. Well, you're going to need to keep that receipt so that you can talk to the insurance company about getting a rider to your policy so that you will be adequately covered. If it's an audit, you need to know by looking at a records retention schedule, looking at the IRS documentation on this, what you need to keep. You don't need to keep that McDonald's receipt. You do need to keep something that shows your actual business expenses. And, it's not just paper. There used to be a superstition that we used to hear all the time that women would hold on to their maternity clothes because if they got rid of them, they would turn up pregnant. You don't see a lot of women in assisted living centers in their 90s being about to have babies. So this whole concept of just in case comes from the fear of being without something they may need. And that fear blocks them from thinking, well, if I did need it, how would I need it? Where would I look for it? And what items would I actually need to use? So you can take that fear and use it sort of as a jumping off point for the next step. So I may need it someday. Okay, if you needed it, what would you do? How would you do it? And that's where a professional organizer, an accountant, anybody, depending on the situation, would be able to sit and say, so you may need your maternity clothes again, but if you're 80, probably not so much.
Okay.
There you go.
So
the fear of just in case.
Just in case. I mean, how many times is it? Just in case I need
this.
I just might need this.
I know.
I know. But I think what's really
not
good.
Not only when in life, but in like the
everything.
Yeah. Just in case. My husband has
she talked about
winter
maternity
jackets.
clothes. Have you kept your maternity clothes or not?
Nope. I sold them.
Not just in case? You've got 2 kids. It could
I
be
know.
third.
Well, if I have more, then I'll just go buy more clothes.
Okay. Well,
but
there
I
you
didn't
go.
want to store them.
Plus, the other thing about this, we learned this when we had a couple of kids, and my wife did keep them the first time. But then by the time
kids or the clothes?
They're the clothes.
Okay, good.
But we kept them both. But by the time you get to the third kid, those first clothes are way out of style anyway. She goes, wow, look at those bell bottoms. Oh, they may come back in style sometime, right?
Yeah.
But
thankfully, mine were for the same season.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
If I had another one, it was.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But no, that's any.
All right. Well,
story.
anyway, Julie Bestry, thank you for the tip there on the first thing that kind of the first fear
of just in case.
Yeah,
so
just in case.
Basically, think about really why you're keeping it in.
Right. And then come up with what your retention policy, right? It's going to be different for, there are retention policies for your tax things, but even for your maternity clothes or whatever.
Or regular clothes.
Just decide, if I'm going to keep these, then how am I going to find them? Right. And that was another really good point I think she made there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're off to the races here, aren't we? Look
I
at
told
it.
you on Friday I was going to make a calendar.
Ooh, she's got
and
the
I
June
did.
calendar. Yeah, don't
June.
do it too close. They could
won't.
zoom in and they could see they could get an upfront look at all those things. So tomorrow we're talking about project management.
Yes, and then Wednesday is part 2 with Janine Sarna Jones.
Boy, and that's just the next 2 days.
Yes,
and
we won't say what's
we won't go
happening
beyond
Thursday
that
and Friday.
because some person here does not like to project into that far into the future.
There's already enough to think about.
Because it's Monday and we're looking forward to Friday.
I know, you always do that.
I always do that. Sorry about that. Okay, well, we will be back here tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, myorganized.life live. It's the summer sale at myorganized.life with 25% off office products like file folders, hanging folders, accordion files, and presentation products. You can get it at myorganized.life. That's myorganized.life. 25% off all products. It's our summer sale at myorganized.life.